This morning, it occurred to me that one of the great tragedies of reincarnation, lifetime after lifetime after lifetime, after lifetime after lifetime, is that death is wasted. Death is wasted on the dying. I mean, you have death, and then you die, and then that's it. It's a tragedy, really. I mean, it's not that death is a tragedy, because you can talk to any of these people, to read there's like 1,000 books now on people who have died and then they came back to life and they go, oh, well, it's beautiful and my life changed and love and all this. So it's not the death. It's such a tragedy. The tragedy is that death is wasted on the dying and not used by the living. And what do I mean by that? Well, what are we afraid of? What's the tragedy of death? The tragedy of death is the end of your story. That's what's afraid of death. That what holds the story of your life. The precious moments, the hopes and dreams, the love that was the story of your life. That's what dies. Yeah? You go on. More love, more life, all this kind of stuff. It's pretty cool when you die. And in a way, there's a necessity for death, because if you didn't die, then the story would go on. And that is what the real tragedy would be. And yet the story wants to be intact. This is my life. My life was this. I was born here. This happened. And, God did this and that. And my mother, my parents. All these are stories. My life is a story. So, this human body, right? This human body. We put clothes on this human body. Yeah? We put clothes on the human body. And the spirit, the will, is in this biofield, which is in a way, it is the clothes of your body. That's the life force that encloses your body. And whatever's going on in your biofield, you feel. Right? So, for example, if your biofield got imprinted by falling off of a high space and dying, that goes from one lifetime to another. So there's a continuation of the story there. And then now in this lifetime, you're afraid of heights. Oh, I'm going to die. Or the same thing, if in another lifetime you get imprinted by dying by drowning, happens to a lot of people, then in this lifetime, the story is in your biofield from one lifetime to another. Yeah? And then in this lifetime, you're afraid of the water, you're afraid of drowning. Or dogs, or snakes, or being attacked, or murdered, or threatened, or any of these kind of things. It goes from one lifetime to another. And this affects your body. I mean, it affects your body so profoundly that if there's actual incidences where somebody was stabbed or shot or wounded, and that's how they died in another lifetime, then they come back with a birthmark of some kind of mark on their body of whatever it was that happened in their energy field, their biofield that went from lifetime to lifetime, and then it shows up on the body. So our body is actually formed by our biofield. Now, the biofield, we put on clothes of our body. There's a story for that. But we can put on these clothes for the body. And that protects us and all these kind of things. But the clothes are not us. You say, this is my shirt. These are my pants, my underwear, my glasses. But they're not you. No way are they you. You can take them off. You can clean them. Put them back on. Or you can buy a new one. Put them back on. Yeah? So, the clothes of your biofield, which you think of as your consciousness of your, it's what goes from lifetime to lifetime for lifetime. It is what survives death. It is what is authentic beyond every story. So you have the stories. The stories of your life are the clothes of your biofield. They're the clothes of your consciousness. You put them on. And then they define you. Oh, you're a smart person, or you're a creative person, or you're a musical person. These are the stories of your biofield, and then you become that. Yeah? But you never take those clothes off. You never take your stories off. And it's the fear of losing the story is what the fear of death really is. And those clothes, those biofield clothes, those soul clothes, you never take them off. You never wash them. You never look at them. And yet that's what affects your body. That's what affects reality. That is what merges you with society. And that's what you're afraid of when it comes to death. So the tragedy of death is that it is wasted upon dying. Because it's the death of the story is the only thing that dies. The story of this lifetime. And the story was pretty much given to you by your parents, by your society, by your religion, by your government, by this reality that throws these old rags on you. You didn't choose them. You didn't go to the story store and pick up new stories. No, your religion was given to you, your language was given to you, your habits was given to you, the way you eat was given to you, and your restrictions, limitations were given to you. Being told 56,000 times no, that's some pretty powerful stories. No, you can't do that. That's a story. No, don't feel that. That's a story. No, we don't do that in this family. No, that's a story. Truth, lies, all these things are stories that are clothes on your biofield that are not you. In no way are they you. Absolutely no way are they you. Do they cause you pain and suffering? Yes. Do they give you also hopes and dreams and joy? Yes. But they're not you. The only way that you can be free of those stories is if you allow them to die. So, if you have the story of I'm not good enough, well that covering of I'm not good enough that is in your biofield affects your body, affects your feelings, and affects everything you do. So you're not good enough parent, you're not good enough worker, you're not good enough child, you're not good enough lover, you're not good enough husband or wife. You see, that cloth of the story of I'm not good enough, which is never examined, never looked at, and held as if it is the protection against who knows what. It's the fabric of your existence. It's just a story. And that story was given to you, and and it can die. When the story dies, there's no, I'm not good enough. That doesn't happen anymore. Or, I'm not worthy. Or, I'm just little. Or, I'm powerless. Or, I'm a victim. Or, I'm depressed. Or, life's not worth living. Or, life is hard. All these are stories that are not your stories, and they are not you. They are clothes that are thrown on you. Old rags from the past. And I'll give you an example. There's a thing in the Bible, something about spare the rod and spoil the child. Okay? Spare the rod and spoil the child. And the Germans, being very German, they came up with this thing of like, well, if you beat a child before they're 7 or before they're 3, they won't know, they won't know that you beat them. They won't remember that, but they will always be obedient. And it is the will of the child is against God. That's the story. The will of the child is against God, so you beat the will out of the child. This is the reason for the 56,000 no's. And it is a reason that from generation to generation to generation to generations, parents beat their kids with a belt, with a stick, with their fist. Beat them to death. Almost to death. Adolf Hitler, being German and Austrian, was beaten every day of his life by his father, who hated him. And 4 times he was put into a hospital from spare the rod and spoil the child. And, that's kind of have an effect on people. Kind of had an effect on him. Called World War II. But that wasn't him. That's not Hitler. That was the clothes that was given to him, the rags, and it was handed down generation to generation. So if you beat your child, it's because you were beaten, and you were beaten because your parents were beaten, and your parents were beaten because their grandparents were beaten, and it goes on back like that. Those are the clothes of your biofield, and that is not you. And it is a tragedy that can't die. That we hold those stories as our protection, as our identity, as our being. That's not your being. So, to be naked of stories, to let all the stories die, or just ask them to go away. I don't need you. I can take this story off. I can take this story off. I can take these clothes off and clean them. I can take this old raggedy rag of stories that have been told. I can take them out and wash them, clean them, make them fresh, purify them. So the old story dies and a new story is told. An authentic story, a story of possibility, a story with no pain. Yeah? This is what Language Lessons of the Heart has to teach. How to die. How to kill, die, release, wash, transform the stories of your life. Society is only a story. Society, story. Yeah? Society says this. Society says this is what we do in a society. You have to wear your clothes in society because that's what society is. It is the clothes of your body and the clothes of your biofield. And the clothes of your body, it gives you your status. And the clothes in your biofield is how you fit into society. They are clothes that are not you. Absolutely not you. But we wear them. And we're afraid to lose them. Oh, I'm an intellect, or I'm an artist, or, I couldn't be an artist because my parents told me I had to be an accountant, so I couldn't be an artist. And that's my story. So it's a tragic story. So we carry a tragic story around in our biofield and it affects us, right? Or there's no love for me. And every time I got love, it turned to shit. Yeah. And that's your story. And then that becomes the story of your life. That's not you. Those are rags thrown on you from the past and that form this insulated, separated, defined, categorized, limited, conditional reality that we live in. It's not true at all. You know, you live in a house, and living in a house, there's the house story. The story of living in a house. That's the story. You put the house around you, and the house becomes a story. This is my house, it's my home. You walk outside. You're not in the house anymore, and then there's nature. And holy moly, that's a whole different story. But because we don't value the story of nature, we value the story of the house. Oh, it's the house, I gotta live in the house. The house is just insulation from nature. Yeah. So nature is bad, the house is good. You see, they're just stories. And they're not you. They're cultural conditioning, cultural limitations, society's laws, society's expectations, society's judgments, society's guilt, society's shame, society's limitations, society's rage, society's anger, society's retribution. And these are the clothes of our biofield. They are stuck to us just like some kind of a scab on a wound. So there's the tragedy that the death of stories can't be used by the living. Let those stories die. Yeah, you vibrate them out by something that's bigger and stronger and more real than the story, which is your rage or your fear or your anger or your anguish. When that comes up and says, I can't deal with this story anymore, fuck this story, then you scream or you shout or you weep. Then that story that's just like ripping your clothes off and saying, fuck this story. I'm not this story. That story doesn't fit me anymore. Never was my story. Never was my truth. Never was who I am. And you'd kill the story or let the story die. And then you become authentic. Then you become what is before the story. What is real. Who you really are. Without stories. The life force. The love. The connectedness. You know, the stories are always separation. It's this story, and this is the story that was story of but it's not that story. So there's a belief. I believe in this and not that. So it's always a separation until you're so separated you don't even know what is anymore. You don't have a real self. You have a separation self. And that's what's afraid of dying. That's what's afraid of dying, is the stories are afraid of dying because you hold on to those stories as if they are you. You know? And it is very similar, okay? To become naked, right? Is very similar to, in your mind, if there's somebody like a big bad guy comes and takes your clothes off and reveals you as naked. That would feel like such a violation. So we wear the clothes of poverty, the clothes of slavery, the clothes of, of shame, the clothes of guilt. We wear these things rather than to be naked because that feels like a violation now. How crazy is that? And yet our stories all go when you die. Gone. You don't remember the past life. You don't remember the trials and tribulations. You don't remember what you wore, what you ate, and what you believed in. Right? You have to do some things to remember. So lifetime after lifetime after lifetime after lifetime, stories gone, stories gone, stories gone, stories gone. And yet we love these stories and we collect these stories. I want to know this. How did the Anunnaki do that? And was the God like this? And this is what so it's all about, story after story. We add more stories on ourselves, which is the close of our biofield, which closes our biofield around us and makes us disconnected. You wear clothes, in a way it's a beautiful thing, but you cannot let the sun onto your being, the air onto your skin, because the clothes is that barrier. And that's what stories are. They're the barriers from being in life, with being alive. You are of a conditioned life. So there's your life, then there's the clothes, and then there's reality. It's kind of crazy in a way when you look at it like that. So the tragedy of life is that, the tragedy of death is this wasted on those who are dying. When they can't take the story, when the story has worn them out, the story has killed them. And then at the deathbed, they let all that story go. They let it go, let it go, let it go, let it go. It doesn't matter. Just love mattered. That's all that really mattered. And all the other stuff was just stuff, just rags. Useless. Worse than useless. The prison. Enclosed. We are enclosed. That's what a prison is, to be enclosed in your biofield. The prison of the mind is the enclosed, and the enclosing, what closes you is the story. And are we addicted to stories? We want stories. We live for stories. There's the mythological stories, the God stories, the religion stories, the prosperity stories, the love stories, the death stories, the fear stories, scary stories. We just keep collecting these stories as if they are something, but all they are, they're not us. They're entertainment that make us estranged from ourselves, from our authentic self. So it's kind of bizarre, and because who you are with no clothes on is pretty cool. Life. When you're going to go and experience love and passion and make life, pretty much do it with no clothes on. There's just that desire for life is to be naked, to experience the creation of life, the most intense living experience that you can have is like with no clothes on. And that's a metaphor for having no stories. No stories of tragedy, no stories of conditioning, no stories of positioning, no stories of causes and effects and rights and wrongs, and all that stuff is just stories. Animals don't have stories. Not a single goddamn animal on earth has a story. Not like we do. That's why we're so insulated from nature and from our own nature, which doesn't have a story.